All right, class, so here is the mistake that I made. When I laid out the oar on the top view here, the taper at the handle of the loom, the taper of the loom at the handle is symmetrical. It's centered around the center line. But on the side view here, this top face is flat. All right, it's a straight line, and the taper only wants to be along one side, along the bottom edge. The idea here is to make a big triangle, a very flat triangle, so that when there's pressure on the handle and pressure on the blade from pulling, this tries to keep this from bending any more than it has to. All right, so what I had to do is erase those lines and remark it with the taper just on the bottom edge. You can also see in this drawing here, I've referenced the sections all from that same top line. You'll notice that the taper is from the section here to the section here. The taper is only on the bottom edge, not on the top edge. Same here. All right, good. So I'm going to erase my lines. Alrighty. So now our center line is also wrong. Alrighty. So what we're going to do, I'm going to set up my square to 1 3/4 inches. Alrighty, and I'm going to mark 1 3/4 inches here. And our taper is going to go from oar leather to that mark. All right, like that, and draw a line in that. Okay, so, and you can see quite a bit different. Now, what we need to do now is we need to find the center of that distance, the 1 3/4 inches. We need to find the center and then mark our handle from that. Okay? And how we're going to do that, we'll take the tape measure, get rid of these marks as much as possible. And again, we're going to center 7/8 of an inch. 7/8 here, 7/8 there. So my 7-inch mark is the center of that. And you're going to put a mark there. All right. We know that the top of the oar is flat or straight, so we can set our tri-square on that and draw. That's the center line. All right. That's the center line of the handle. We know that the handle is 1 1/4 inches, which is 5/8. Either side of the center line, there's 5/8, and there's 5/8. All right. And again, what I can do is use my tri-square. I can set it on the mark, draw a straight line. Whoops. And I have to tell you, I'm tempted to do it in pen just so I can see it better. All right. Now what I'm going to do is change my square. And actually, I could do it from this side because with these two edges are parallel. So you can see a little bit better how I'm doing this. But put it on, lock it on that mark, and mark that. All right. There we go. So now we have 1 1/4 inch handle, 1 3/4 inches here. All right. But the taper is all on one side. It's not on both sides. It's not centered. This side stays straight. Alrighty. So now what I can do is let me measure the height from the top of the oar to the bottom of the taper. Alrighty. We'll look at our drawing here. And that distance is supposed to be also 1 3/4 inches. Alrighty. Take our square, set it to 1 3/4 inches, set it here, and we just draw a mark. All right. Now we're going to take the straight edge. We're going to go from the edge of the oar leather where the leather will go, and we've got a mark on the sides, and draw a straight line. All right. Now, what we would love to do is we would like to have that line continue, and then the end of this will get rounded. All right. And what we'll use is eventually use as a pattern to mark that. All right. But for now, we would like to. So what I'm going to do on my drawing. All right, so on our drawing, our large drawing of the blade, it indicates that at 7 inches from the tip of the blade, which is where our pattern was, it is 1.5 inches thick from the face, the top face of the loom. So we're going to come back over to here. This does not have to be super exact. So we're going to mark 7 inches there. Eyeball it around the corner. That's 7 inches. Alrighty. We know the thickness of the blade piece is 1.25 inches. Alright? 1.25 inches. And that is flush with the top of the loom. So we know that we can take our ruler and we can mark 1/4 inch away from the bottom, like that, and that's where our line of the back of the loom should run to. Well, we'll see if it lines up. And it's awfully close. All right, so we do that. Oops. See if I can hold it still. Line up there. So it works. Got a little epoxy on it, so it's slippery. Okay. Now what I'm going to do is continue this all the way to the end, just so it's easy to cut when we get to that point. Eventually it'll go from 7 inches, it will curl up. We're going to put a block on top of here to extend the tip up, and it will also make a hardwood tip. We'll change that. All right? So we fixed our boo-boo. All right. So now what we're going to do is we're just simply going to mark the taper of the sides of the loom on the top face, on the flat top face. Go from the mark to the edge of the leather. We'll switch it over to the other side. And mark that side. All right. And we're done.
Done.